This is the third and final part for my Sazabi live stream analysis videos. If you haven't seen the first two portions, go check those out first before you watch this. Again, standing out around in the open. High grounds are super valuable. Take them away from the enemy team. Wait up there. Stop the gun tank from having that position. Instead, we're not doing that. We're taking too much damage and we're having him run away. Here we're going to see a little interesting micro gameplay section. So if you see a Pale Rider like this, and you're a Sazabi, you can chase him and kill him and pressure him out of the area. Maybe not kill him just because you can't run as fast as him, but you can definitely pressure him. Our Sazabi backs up, doesn't use a shield. It's a really bad habit of our Sazabi player. And then our Sazabi player sees a Metis and gets scared too, because as if a Pale Rider and a Metis can actually damage you. You put up your shield, they literally can't do any damage to you. Neither of them have a stun. The only way that they can kill you is by surrounding you and, like, you know, dashing through you and then shooting you in the back while the other one shoots you from main so you can't go anywhere. But even then, if you play in a position right around these boxes, they can't go behind you because then they'll be exposed to your team. So they'll be forced to stand there and die or back up. And then you've done your job as a main tank. But instead we run away. Normally, the priority in these sort of fights is not to go for the person that's downed because they can't do any damage. But if they're getting resurrected like this, or there's a GM sniper standing behind this character in front of this Metis here that shot a resurrection gun shot at him, that is a good time to kill it, back up, play slow, re-engage. But one of the really cool things you can do with these kind of character here is engage from above. Not only does it make it so your Tomahawk and homing boost like are longer on cooldown if you throw it above and then homing boost onto it, because you land with like probably about 5 seconds available until you can use both of them. But you get to come in from an unexpected angle. So shoot this Ashimar here in the head, back up, don't take all this damage, always be using your shield, and then right above this wall here, use it to go in. Land on top of this person, drop onto him, destroy him, and then use your dash to get back. Something like Winston in Overwatch can't play as aggressively as that because it doesn't have an extra dash. But in this game you can, because you do have your regular dash to get out also afterwards. So you can move into more aggressive positions. I know comparatively not everything has as much mobility in Overwatch as in this game, but the map doesn't move. So the way that you can play around it with extra mobility doesn't change. So this is an interesting way that you can path. It does get you directly to the high ground. So you get to skip all the cooldown usage to get there. But you're also walking through a choke. And as we talked about, chokes are really, really bad. So that's an option, but you have to do it sneaky. This is the kind of thing where you have like a Barbatos come and do it when no one else is paying attention. A little bit into the fights so that the other team's distracted. You don't want to do just everyone go through there or anything like that. Again, don't even shoot at range. It's just a complete waste. He's literally just wasting his shots and having to reload. Shooting at range is absolutely useless on Sazabi. Going to the high ground here would have been good. It's a good default position to just stand, and then you look around and you find somebody, and then as soon as they contest you, as soon as they walk through a choke or something like that, then you dive onto them. But he goes to the bottom. And it's just inherently not as good of a position. Something that's really important about this game, for Sazabi and a homing boost, is to pay a lot of attention to where your teammates are. It's very, very important in general to be a better player, to know where your teammates are, just in general, because you know when they're fighting and when you're fighting, so you're not just running in 2v6 because you think that your team's with you, but they're not there. It happens all the time. It's related to like staggering. It's just, but this is more like a micro situation of like, you being like 3 seconds off of when your teammate's ready to go in, and you go in and you're fighting by yourself for 3 seconds, and so you die, and you're confused. And you're like, well, guys, what are you doing? But they weren't playing wrong. You were playing wrong. But from the micro perspective, your homing boost gives you a free charge, only 1 use of a cooldown, as opposed to 2 with the Tomahawk onto one of your teammates, if you know where they are and can properly use it. So you have to be paying attention to that. Going through this checkpoint in general, or this choke point, is not a very good idea just to do. As I talked about, choke point's bad, but on top of this choke point, it also has a verticality component. So imagine someone standing directly above the Sazabi on the right here. That is the freest position in the game if you try and walk through there. They're so unthreatenable. They have an angle on you, and then they have a high ground advantage on you, and you're walking through a choke. You will just get absolutely destroyed. So you have to be really cautious about that. It's better to just go through the far left side here. And of course, needs to use a shield. Full shield dies because he's not even using a shield. Tomahawks are not to be used for damage. I believe I mentioned this earlier, but Tomahawks are not to be used for damage. So don't waste them. They're for mobility and for stunning things that need to be stunned. Okay, great range shooting. Great range shooting. This positioning is pretty good for like a RX, like a GM or like an RX-78 where you're playing in a, like, yeah, you're in a choke, but it's so far away it doesn't really matter that it's a choke from where the enemy team is, and it's moderately safe because you can kite behind it. But for a close range character that needs to be doing things, this is just miserable. Even there, like, he needs to go. That guy dies because he's not doing anything about it. He needs to facilitate that. You need to be efficiently chasing things down, efficiently pathing. And this is the same positioning that he was in before. And because he's not in the right position, he gets hooked. Again, I don't believe this hooks him through his shield. I believe he drops it, which is good for balance issues in my opinion. But just bad positioning, and then wastes his thing. And imagine if he and the rest of his team were staying in the high ground. It'd be absolutely impossible for them to get it. Should be in the high ground. I swear this guy is just pressing his buttons just because. Like, what are we doing here? There's so much wrong with this situation here. Waste cooldown. Okay. Second, there's not that much time available left on the point. If they captured it right now, they would only get 15%. Like right now. But if a team even walks up to the point right now, it's going to take them like 4 seconds to capture it. So we get 8 seconds left. In this sort of situation, on these maps in particular with the King of the Hill, this is where you start thinking like, do I even need to be here anymore? Maybe we should go be setting up on the other objective to take a better fight. As opposed to walking into them having already captured it, or having much better team positioning for it. Actually, not already captured it because it has a 30-second wait period in between, but they'll have a better positioning. And even if you are really trying hard to protect this, you need to be in that high ground or on the boxes. High ground is the best just because it's the safest position. But instead we're playing in the back like we're a GM. Needs to dodge that. This one's really predictable. It's part of the reason why I don't think Barbatos is as good as some other characters like Exia. Really predictable. Just dash forward or dash backward, and then punish this guy. One of the two. Same issue as before, but this just shows it even more strongly. You need to do something. Now, you have a few seconds that hasn't fully ticked up yet, but you need to do something. Nobody on your team can do anything unless you do it. So you need to go into the high ground, pick a target that either does the highest damage or is the easiest to kill, and go harass it and scare the enemy with this big red thing dropping in their back line, and them having to freak out and do something. If you haven't seen my Sazabi guide, then make sure to check it out. It has all the information for Sazabi summarized and lots of top analysis too with it. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I appreciate you, and see you guys later.